It's been a week. I showed you last week how I created my prompt for A Game of Thrones. And not gonna lie, it's not my favorite. I'm not mad about it. I like it, but I want to show you a prompt that I'm hoping I will be proud of, I'm going to like, and something that will represent a little bit more my style. So I'm gonna show you the entire process for my next prompt for day 21, which is The Little Mermaid. And the prompt is Art Deco. I think it's going to be a prompt I'm going to enjoy doing a lot more. I already have sketched a couple of ideas that I had when I was just starting out the challenge. I knew I wanted to include some sort of shells. I thought, okay, I need to write it down as soon as possible before I forget, because that tends to happen a lot when you have an idea. If you don't write it down straight away, you're going to forget it. I am thinking of including shells and having something like very sparkly with lots of like tiny little details. I still want it to look very geometric because it's Art Deco. I'm going to try and find ways to include some type of scrolls, like paper scrolls, but something very sharp, very symmetrical. I still want to include some texture so it fits with the challenge, with the rest of my prompts, even though Art Deco is not necessarily heavily textured in a way that it's usually like bold, plain colors. There's still like lots of patterns happening, but not so much textures. So I'm still going to mix that together and hopefully it's going to look cool. Yeah, let's get started. I'm going to show you the entire process again. Hopefully that'll give you more insight of my process and you'll see how I tackle a completely different type of prompt. The first thing I'm going to do, same as last time, I'm going to do lots of online research. I'm going to go on Pinterest, Google, going to Google Little Mermaid, some Art Deco stuff, and then start sketching some ideas, things that I like, things that I know I could include. Just really capturing the mood and trying to find ways to represent the book and the prompt at the same time with my lettering. I'm not really entirely sure what I'm going to do for the lettering. I know I want to do something Art Deco with like big curvy letters. I don't know. So I did a prompt last year, I'll show you guys, for this prompt, Art Deco. I did Victoria's Secret and I really love how this turned out. So I want to make sure it's just as good this year. That's the plan. Let's get started. Enough of me talking. Let's just jump straight into it. First thing I'm going to do is go on Google and just do my usual Google search. Once again, the lettering really needs some work. This is nothing Art Deco, so this is just not gonna be useful at all for me, but it's just good to see what's been done in the past, how people have interpreted the story and how they've tried to translate that in the lettering. So obviously here they've just tried to imitate a tail, like a mermaid tail. That's pretty much it. Not much going on here. So let's jump into Pinterest. Usually they have a lot more interesting stuff. Very, very cute. I love this one. Oh, now that's interesting. That's Art Nouveau, so this is not gonna work for Art Deco, but something going on here. I think this is very cute. But to Art Nouveau. I really love this. I really love those frames, and this is cool. I'm just going to save that. For reference, we never know. We never know. I really love what's going on here as well, the little spiral thing. I think something I could incorporate somehow. Ooh. Now this is more what I'm thinking, this type of shell. I'm gonna keep that. Even though once again, this is a little bit too much Art Nouveau, not Art Deco enough. This is more Art Deco. This is definitely kind of like resembling Art Deco more. So that's something we could try and incorporate. I'm going to Google Art Deco just to give you guys an idea of what I'm looking for. So this is more Art Deco, that geometric pattern, those triangular shapes and things like super symmetrical like that. This is very, very interesting. So I want it to be Art Deco, but with touches of the sea. I'm definitely going to include that, like something like that. Oh, this is nice. Oh my god, look at that. It has little pearls. So as you can see, I've been adding so many pearls in my work lately. It's like, I don't think it's going to replace the star that I always add in my work, but pretty close, let me tell you. So adding the pearl with the shell, definitely going to try that. I'm really drawn to this type of pattern here and this one. Like, this is stunning. To research some letters, so I'm going to just look for Art Deco lettering. Might give me some typefaces, things like that. This is really not exactly what I think when I think of Art Deco. Definitely not this. This is not Art Deco. Let's go Art Deco alphabets, because that was not it. That's better. That's what I think when I think of Art Deco. Like, this will be perfectly Art Deco to me. So the very round letter forms, the C being like just half a circle, same with the D and the G, and having the crossbar like super tall, super high, very skinny letters, very tall, and having the little crossbar growing out of the letter form, even the A like that. This is Art Deco. That's Nick Mizani, definitely Art Deco here, 100%. We can screenshot that so we have a good reference. This is very nice as well. Really love how they do those ligatures. With the Little Mermaid, there's two T's, so I'm gonna have to find a way to combine them and make them look cool together. So this is a very good inspiration. I really love that. Pinterest is really good. Like, you just find one pin and it finds other pins for you in the same style. It's just so great. Let's screenshot that as well, because I just love how they've managed to position the lettering around that shape. So the shape is kind of like dictating how the letters should be, which is so cool. Wow, look at this, so good. Let's screenshot that as well. We've got plenty of reference for this one. Okay, so let me show you all my references. This is the first reference, so The Birth of Venus by Botticelli. This is what I think when I think of The Little Mermaid. For some reason, don't ask me why, this is the type of vibe I want to incorporate with this lettering. So the shell in particular, the elements, the patterns, all of that, everything that's going on in this painting, I want to try and use that as a reference in my work. And this is another picture I found. Can't remember where I found it. It's just a screenshot of a Zoom, and I'm so bummed that I don't know where this is from. I just loved how they did the pearls and the colors, and I'm going to try and do that with my artwork in Procreate. This is the image we found together. Really love the frame on this one. Here I love the shell. I love the patterns here, this with the shells at the bottom, and this one. I think this looks kind of Art Deco pattern that I like. This one, this is going to happen. This is going to be a thing. Love this as well. Love this. And lettering is probably going to look something like that. Alright, so now that we've got all of this, we can move on straight to the sketchbook and try and figure out some type of composition. Let's go! I'm gonna go with this. So let's refine that sketch a little bit. I could do that in Procreate. You guys have been asking, why am I using a sketchbook? The reason I'm using it is because I like to keep all of my prompts all together, and it feels more like a journal than anything. I just love having everything in one place, being able to go back to it, whereas in Procreate it's so hard to go back to the layers, to go back to different artworks, and it's just personal habit, but you can definitely do this step in Procreate for sure. Add those little pearls here. They're gonna go there. So many pearls are gonna be used in this artwork. I have a feeling. Not sure about the double T here. Maybe if I go like this. This is the shell. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to look like. I want to add some depth in the background, and this is going to be hopefully quite geometric. Like, I don't want it to be too smooth, so I'm going to try and make it super geometric. Add some type of Art Deco pattern on it. We'll see. Author's name is going to have like a very Art Deco feel to it. I'm running out of room, but you get the idea. This is what I like about sketches. You're not worrying about the details here, you're just worrying about the composition. And I find this step so important. If I don't do that, that's when I end up spending way too much time redoing things because things are not working. Whereas when I do this step, I know how things are gonna be assembled together, so I don't have to worry too much about things being unbalanced or things being out of place. It just works because I've already figured that out on paper. I didn't waste any time. I want to add like a really big pearl somewhere, so I'm thinking this is gonna be here, but then the shell needs to be kind of open, otherwise it's gonna look strange. But if not, I'll just leave it like that and make it work. I will have lots of sparkles, kind of like hanging on little like bubbles. These are going to be pearls, and these are just going to be motifs in the background, just to add a bit of balance. Might be some type of frame here, some Art Deco frame, we'll see. Something like that. The lettering is going to be very gold. I'm seeing lots of gold here, like gold and black. I don't think I'm gonna add any green at all or any pink or reddish color. It's just gonna be gold and black. That's what I'm thinking. It might change, we will see. I'm thinking of making the letter forms as thick as possible, so I didn't really do it justice here, but I want to make them as thick as possible so I can add some type of subtle patterns on the letter forms just to make them a little bit more decorative. And that's pretty much it. At this stage, I'm extremely happy with the layout, extremely happy with where this is going. So I am ready to take a photo of that and bring that into Procreate and start drawing. This is my chair. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to start with the lettering because remember, we're doing a lettering challenge. So this is the most important. Anything around it is just additional to tie in with the book, with the story. But The lettering, the Little Mermaid, this is the most important. So this is what I'm going to spend the most time on. I always want my lettering to be the main element within all of my book covers. I want my lettering to tell the story. My goal with this challenge was to show that letter forms can have personality. They can give you hints about what the story is going to be about. I really wanted to go deeper into the world of letter forms and their ability to convey very powerful messages. Really loving where this is going. What I love the most is the balance within the composition. The word mermaid is really standing out. The word little is kind of little. I love this like frame with the scales. The pearl here is really going to stand out. I have tried not to add too many illustrations in this challenge, but I just had to draw a shell for this one. I just really wanted that, but I love that the lettering is combined with the illustration. It's just not two elements drawn apart and at different times. Like I'm really gonna be drawing them both at the same time, so they're really going to work together. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Let's keep going. I'm going to duplicate this artwork. I like to keep backups just in case. I like to keep it as well to film the process when I film my process video, so you guys can see that. I'm going to refine all of that and keep going. It's slightly hard to read, so I'm going to see if I can do something with the title of the eye. Maybe a little bit better. Let's see if we can kind of squeeze it in. We'll see. It's just I don't like this gap here, and these feel a little bit very difficult to read. It kind of looks like an F. We'll see. Contemplating trying a rounded top for the A, because this is very, very pointy. So we're gonna try that out. I'm going to duplicate the layer just to make sure if I don't like it, I can always go back. Change of plan, I'm going with this type of M. Add a bit more breathing space here. It was just too heavy, too sharp. It didn't fit the style for the Little Mermaid, I think. Still needs to be kind of cute, so I went with that. Alright, I've added a little bit of color in the background just so that I could play with shadows, just to give more volume. I am thinking now that my pearl is like kind of gold, the shell cannot be gold, it has to be a different color. So I'm thinking of maybe a greenish shell. We'll see how that goes, but now all I have to do is pretty much just give life to every element, just give them texture, shadows, highlights. This is my favorite part, to be honest, because it's much easier. You don't have to think about balancing things out, about hierarchy, legibility and all of that. Like, you just need to worry about giving life to every single element, making sure they're all consistent. So this is the fun part. Alright, I think I'm done here. I'm gonna probably sit on the couch and just keep going. I'll share with you guys a time lapse so you can see how I add all of the details and texture. And so far, this is looking a bit flat, so I'm really gonna try and make this very shiny. Alright, so this is where I'm at. I worked on it last night. I usually like to work on the main thing for a day, so I create the lettering, the composition, then add the details, and then the next day, once I have some time away from the artwork, I can really just do the final touches. For this one, I'm not too happy with the colors so far. I think that needs a little bit of work. And regarding the composition, I'm going to add a few more details around here, something that kind of stands out a bit more. And I think this is probably too prominent. I really like it, but I think it could be toned down a little bit so that the lettering is really the main focus. So I'm going to play with that now. This should only take about an hour or so, and then I will be done with this prompt. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just trying to think if I can add some stuff in the background, in the bottom part, to make this area pop a bit more, because it's just very dark. I'm going to play around with that and see what I can do. Alright, let's have a look at the difference here. You can see the background that was quite dark. I've added just a layer of light just to brighten up everything, and I think that's much better. I don't know at this stage what to do, to be honest. If I add more or if I leave it like that. I am going to just go back to the mood board, have a look at some images, see if I can just play with tiny little details, just see if I can maybe add more pearls to the lettering, something happening within the shape, and see maybe if I can add some subtle elements here in the background. I wanted to add maybe some type of water element like shells or algae in the background or on the scroll. Just going to go back online and have a look at some stuff and get back to it. Okay, I think I am done. I don't want to spend more time on this one, otherwise it's just gonna take forever. I simply just added some flourishes in the background that resemble algae. Now I have made a duplicate. I'm going to flatten up everything, just a little bit of noise and chromatic aberration, and we can move on to Photoshop and put that on a book mockup. Okay, so this is another book cover, so all I have to do is double click on the smart object, and I'm just going to paste my new artwork in it for the Little Mermaid, and I am going to flatten the image and just click save, and it will magically appear on that book cover. Perfect. So this is the final book. that's it. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and that gave you again a bit of an insight into my process. I must say this prompt was probably one of my favorites. I just loved how it turned out, and if it wasn't for the challenge, I don't think I would have been able to do something like that. This challenge really pushed me to try out new things, experiment with new techniques, and that's why I recommend you participate in a challenge like that. So if you want to join, you can join me next year in October 2024 and participate as well. It's completely free to participate. You don't need any specific tools, you just need to be willing to practice every day for 30 days. I'll make sure to leave the link down below so that you can join the waitlist and be notified when we start the next challenge. One of the questions I got the most was how much time I spent per prompt, and let's have a look at this one and see how long I've spent on this one. I didn't spend that much time on this one, so 7 hours and 20 minutes, which is not too long. I believe this was my goal with this challenge. I didn't want to spend more than 8 hours maximum, and that's what I did for each prompt. I'm also planning on creating another YouTube video where I'm going to be designing the back cover and the spine for a couple of the most popular book covers, print them out and put them on actual books to see how it would look like to have the physical book in hand. So yeah, plenty of things happening at the end of the year. I am really trying to get a few more YouTube videos out there, a few more tutorials, so make sure to stay tuned. As always, if you have any questions regarding my process, just feel free to ask. I'm always happy to answer those questions. So make sure to stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in my next video.